23andMe and your DNA is up for sale.
I am not reassured at all, but I never use 23andMe, so I'm not too worried about my DNA going places.
My own forgetfulness helped me avoid them having my DNA.
What did 23andMe do with the DNA?
DoorDash now lets you finance your burrito. My question is, why wouldn't you just use a credit card?
Buy now, pay later stuff is just predatory lending.
Hello, how the tech are you? My name is Sylph, and this week I've got two very interesting and also kind of concerning stories. My first one especially is 23andMe and your DNA is up for sale. 23andMe has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and is seeking a buyer. The company has secured a $35 million loan to continue operations during their restructuring. The CEO, Ann Wojcicki, I believe is how it's pronounced, has resigned following an unsuccessful attempt to take the company private. 23andMe has stated they are committed to safeguarding customer data and will not make changes to data management as part of whatever deal for being purchased. And users can still delete their data or their entire account. And after deletion, it may take up to 30 days for the request to take effect. And also, the company states 23andMe and our contracted genotyping laboratory will retain your genetic information, date of birth, and sex as required for compliance with applicable legal obligations, even if you delete your account. Any potential buyer must comply with applicable laws regarding customer data treatment. So very cool. They won't be doing any crimes. That's very reassuring, I suppose. What do you think?
Yeah, that's. I am not reassured at all, but I never use 23andMe, so I'm not too worried about my DNA going places.
Yeah, I actually bought the kit. Had it in my car and was going to do it, and because I'm so forgetful, I forgot about it for like a year, and then I found it in my car, and I was like, it was like under the seat, and I was like, oh, that's right, I paid for this kit, I should do this. And then I like thought about it more and was like, actually, this seems like a really bad idea. Maybe I don't want to do this. So like my own forgetfulness helped me avoid them having my DNA.
Yeah, it saved you. What did 23andMe do with the DNA besides I guess you could figure out where you're from or something?
When they first started, they did ancestry analysis and also like genetic abnormality analysis. So they would tell you if you had certain mutations that could lead to certain like health complications. And then for a while, they weren't allowed to do that health part. So they just did ancestry. And then they were able to get back the ability to do that health part with, I think, a lot of like disclaimers about it. Basically, the problem is those aren't really useful for most people to know. And you basically end up like bugging your doctor and going through a bunch of unnecessary tests when you do know those things. So I don't know if like every mutation they were testing for was like that, but I just know what I've heard from doctors on YouTube. So I'm not a licensed medical doctor. I'm not a doctor in any way. I don't have a doctorate in anything. So this is just my opinion, not medical advice. But yeah, so they were eventually allowed to do that medical testing as well. So it's both ancestry and genetic medical testing.
I know for a while there was a controversy over, I don't know if it was specifically 23andMe or all the different genetic places, that they're worried that health insurers were going to get a hold of that info and then start denying people because they had based on their genetics, they had a higher probability of getting this or that or, disease or something. Because, stuff like cancer, like particular types of cancer can be higher based on certain genetic markers. Your probability of getting it is higher based on certain genetic markers. And they're like, well, does that mean that those people that have those markers, are they going to be uninsurable? That doesn't seem particularly fair.
Yeah, that sounds very similar to the whole pre-existing conditions thing that we made illegal.
Yep.
That the Republicans have been trying for like over a decade to undo, make it so that insurance companies can go back to denying you for having pre-existing conditions. Luckily, so far, they've been unsuccessful in those attempts. But
yeah.
who knows? Maybe American healthcare might get even worse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've been doing everything they can to make the healthcare even worse, but it's beside the point. That's a different show, I think, what we do here.
But yeah, so if you have your DNA data in 23andMe, you might want to think about requesting it to be deleted before the sale goes through, because this is like, at least to me, this would be a big fear to have like my genetic information just like bought by some company that I have never even heard of, haven't like vetted or anything. So this is scary.
You can delete your account, but like that doesn't actually delete your data. Is it possible to get them to actually delete your information?
So the quote that is in the article is 23andMe and or our contracted genotyping laboratory will retain your genetic information, date of birth, and sex as required for compliance with applicable legal obligations, even if you delete your account. So to me, that probably means it's not tied to your name. It's still tied to your date of birth, so could be used to identify you, but at least, hopefully they would delete your name. But also, any relatives you have, they'd be able to link you to your relatives, so seems bad.
There's the other controversy. Again, I don't think it was 23andMe, but one of the other genetic, I think it was like Ancestry or one of the other ones that specifically does like the ancestor stuff, and they have you send in your DNA sample and they figure out that way. But apparently like some cops were able to get access to that, and that was the way the was it the BTK killer was caught, because he didn't actually do it, but like his sister or something or brother or something did it, and they were able to figure out that DNA that was found on the scene matched, like it was similar to these people, so they knew it was somebody who was related, and they just went through looked at everybody who was related to these people, and that's how they were able to find him.
Well, that is good. To me, it still doesn't reassure me enough to have like my DNA out at some company I don't trust. I
mean, there was basically a good result from that, but the whole DNA thing with the cops and stuff, I don't know if you heard of basically making cops lazy. So if they find any DNA at a site, they just do a DNA lookup and they'll just pin it on whoever they find, that matches that DNA, depending on how closely matched it is and stuff. And some people have been accused that way, apparently, of crimes they didn't commit because their DNA was found at the site for whatever reason, which, I mean, it could be they were there sometime before or after or something, or some other form of contamination happened.
Yeah, there was that famous case of there was some lady's DNA that was found at like 35 different crime scenes, and the cops were like, she is some prolific serial killer. It turns out she just worked at the factory that made the cotton swabs that they used to collect the DNA.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah, it's stupid stuff like that. So, it's complicated, right? Like, It's good when it works, but there's a lot of reasons it doesn't work.
Yeah. All right. So I will move on to my next story, which is DoorDash now lets you finance your burrito. And you did hear that correctly. DoorDash has partnered with Swedish fintech company Klarna to offer customers the option to pay for food deliveries in installments through Buy Now, Pay Later. The partnership allows customers to choose between paying in full, splitting the cost into 4 interest-free installments, or deferring payments up to 30 days without interest. And keep in mind that interest-free only applies if you don't miss a payment. The collaboration has already drawn criticism and jokes on social media, with users comparing it to financing a cheeseburger for 6 years. Klarna's Buy Now, Pay Later service is not limited to DoorDash, as they recently inked a deal with Walmart to provide similar payment options. The partnership comes as inflation and the rising cost of food are becoming top economic concerns for Americans, with 73% citing it as a top concern in a recent Pew Research survey. Despite increasing food prices and fees, DoorDash reported a 19% 19% year-over-year increase in total orders in Q4 2024, reaching 685 million orders, and a 26% increase in revenue to $2.3 billion. Buy now, pay later usage has been growing, with last Black Friday seeing an 8.8% year-over-year increase to $686.3 million. My question is, why wouldn't you just use a credit card? What do you think?
Yeah, so I've heard the buy now, pay later being called broke now, broke later. That was Josh Breed from Minority Mindset. But it's like, yeah, these buy now, pay later stuff is just predatory lending, basically. Mm-hmm. Like, you should not be paying for this stuff. I mean, if you're really having trouble like paying for stuff, you should not be using DoorDash. It's like way more expensive that way. I like DoorDash.
Some people don't have a choice.
That's true. But try to limit it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, this buy now, pay later is crazy. So you said that there's no interest for like a year or something like that?
So there's no interest if you pay in the 4 installments. I don't know about deferring payments up to 30 days. No, that is without interest. Yeah. So both those don't have interest. The thing is, you will pay interest if you miss a payment. So that's how Klarna makes their money. They don't make their money when you pay your payments on time. They make your money when you miss a payment. So
I mean, that's why you wouldn't do it on a credit card. And this is your
credit card also shouldn't have interest unless you don't pay it off in full before your statement date or your due date.
Well, is Klarna a month? Do you pay it monthly or do you pay it weekly? Like, how many installments? Like, what is the period?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Because on a credit card, you have to pay it off every month to not get the interest charged.
Yeah, and ideally you should be paying your credit card off every month because you don't want those interest charges.
Definitely should.
You're just wasting money at that point. Yeah. But the nice thing about the credit card is, A, you can use it generally. It's not just at like DoorDash and Walmart or whatever. And B, like if you do miss your payment or something, there's a minimum payment that's like really low. And if you can't pay your entire statement off, you can defer it to next month. You shouldn't carry a balance like that. But if you need to, if an emergency happens, you can. And like another nice thing about a credit card is like you do it all through like your bank app. Yeah. So like, why do you want more apps that you owe money to?
Good point.
Like, I don't see any value in using Klarna. I guess maybe you don't have to pass a credit check or something. I don't know. You can get a credit card even if you have pretty bad credit. So I don't know. I don't see any benefit to using Klarna at all. And you don't get rewards. Like, you get rewards when you use a credit card, right? Depending on the credit card, you might get like airline miles or you might get like percentage cash back or whatever. I use my Costco card all the time. This year I got like a $900 reward certificate for Costco because like I put everything on that card.
Wow.
But yeah, like
that's impressive.
That pays for like a month or more of groceries. Like, why wouldn't you want to use a credit card? So like, paying for like your DoorDash on a different thing than what you pay everything else on just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, the whole like buy now, pay later for anything seemed to not make a lot of sense to me either. Yep. But particularly for DoorDash for food. And it really sucks that like food is still really expensive and it's probably not going to go back down. And then places like, companies like DoorDash like tack on so many extra fees onto it to make it even more expensive. I find that buying something through DoorDash, I know some people that don't have another option. Sometimes it's just the best thing to do, but it's almost always twice as much for me anyways to buy stuff in DoorDash than actually like going to the place and buying it there, right? It's kind of iffy though. Like if you're buying for a group, like the more you buy, the less that's really an issue.
So I kind of have an opposite experience as that. So I have Dash Pass, which is like you pay a monthly fee and then you get discounts on the delivery fee. A lot of places you don't even have a delivery fee. You just have a service fee. And the restaurant that I like to order at, which is like, it's like a 20-minute walk away. So like I could just walk there and buy stuff, but I actually tested it out, ordered something through DoorDash, and then the next day just walked over there and ordered the same thing. And not counting the tip, because I do tip at least $5 for everything I order. I'll tip the middle button, and if the middle button is less than $5, then I'll tip $5. Except for that $5 tip, it only cost me $2 more to order it with DoorDash. So basically, with the $5 tip, it's only costing me $7 more on a $28. Like, I buy 2 meals at a time when I do DoorDash because I don't really want to spend $5 to get one meal, $5 extra to get one meal. So on a $28 ticket, it's only costing me $7 more, which is what, like a quarter? So basically 25% more to get it delivered.
Yeah, I mean, I'm including the tip and including any extra delivery fees and stuff like that. And oftentimes I'm buying like just one meal. Sometimes I buy stuff I don't often like specifically buy more than one meal, but I often will buy stuff that I'll save part of it to be more than one meal or something like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is like if you buy one meal, then it makes a little more sense to not have Dash Pass. But if you have Dash Pass, it makes more sense to order more because you're not getting that percentage delivery fee. Yeah. Usually, with most restaurants, it's like, at least some restaurants, the one that I've ordered from, there is no delivery fee. There's just that service fee. And that's the same for every order, whether you order one meal or whether you order 10 meals at a time. So it makes more sense to have Dash Pass when you're ordering multiple meals. So usually I'll order like dinner and then breakfast for the next day.
And then did you double check the prices? Because oftentimes the prices for these restaurants on DoorDash, like not including all the other stuff, are also higher than actually in person.
I did check the prices. The prices are exactly the same on DoorDash as in person at that particular restaurant. I don't know about any other restaurants. I haven't done that check there. But I guess your mileage may vary. But also, don't finance a burrito. Or if you are, do it on a credit card.
Definitely don't do that. Yeah. And don't and pay off your credit card every month. If you can't do that, I mean, once or twice is okay, but really think about what you're spending money on.
Yeah. If you can't afford to be buying DoorDash, which that sucks, everyone should be able to buy a meal at a restaurant. Everyone should make a living wage that lets you do that. We live in a shitty society where a lot of people can barely afford to get by. If you can't afford to DoorDash something, just buy those microwave meals when you go to a grocery store. When you go get your groceries, just buy some microwave meals so that you have a meal if you're in a hurry or something.
Yeah.
Or you don't feel like cooking. Toss it in the microwave. You might say oh, well, that's not very healthy, but neither is restaurant food.
That's true. I mean, some of those prepared meals can be healthy for you, actually, if you get the right one.
Yeah, I personally really like lean cuisines. Yeah. I know they've got particularly a high amount of sodium, but other than that, they're actually pretty good for you. I guess don't finance a burrito. Thank you for checking out How the Tech Are You? We do this show every week and put it up in multiple installments on YouTube, just like your multiple installments on your burrito. Check out our other episodes. Check out our other shows. You can do that on echoplexmedia.com. If you'd like to support us, you can do that at eplex.store or patreon.com/echoplex. And there should be another video for you to check out right around here on your screen. Have a great tech and week.